Hello and welcome to another Now News episode. I'm here once again with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Richard Oliver, and what a bloody newsworthy week it has been. Well, it's all starting to happen now, Richard. 2020 is gearing up for its encore performance, and I'm sure it's going to be quite an interesting ride moving forward into the year ahead. Now, I believe it was Friday, around about the 27th or 28th, that Elon Musk did a presentation. That the presentation is available online and it's been covered by most major tech platforms on YouTube, where he has demonstrated the first working Neuralink. And what it basically is, it's a chip that's implanted at the base of the skull by a robot, and he demonstrated this by 3 little pigs. So the first pig had no chip and was absolutely fine, ran around its little pen. The second had a chip in its head for 2 months and then subsequently had the chip removed, so it's, just in case he wanted an upgrade. And the third one had a chip of which was able to monitor its heartbeat. It was able to do all these weird and wonderful things. And apparently it was touted as a medical marvel for people who maybe have neurological conditions, but also could be used very similar to a smartwatch or Fitbit, except for the fact it's inside your skull. I had several questions about it, but he was asked some questions at the end of the presentation, and he believes that you'll be able to do things like command your car to come to you at will, telepathically send text messages to friends, and be able to download knowledge directly to your brain from the internet. Wow, this all sounds incredibly exciting, and if you're anything like me, downright bloody terrifying. Richard, your thoughts, my friend?
Sounds bloody lovely, doesn't it? The thing is, right, the social media platforms we have now are beyond our capabilities and our understanding of each other and ourselves as people. And now they want to plug us into one. When I read it, I could just imagine your kid coming home from school and going upstairs, and like they say, like, I'm going to put on, the game station, and then just plugging their heads into the telly. It sounds balmy, doesn't it?
Well,
what happens if they get hacked?
Yeah.
What happens if they plug your head in and there's a glitch? What are they going to glitch? Your kid's going to be just walking around.
Your brain is
it'd be handy if they're doing the hoovering at the time, or you've managed to get them to clean their room and they glitch, fine. Like, they just keep tidying their room, and there might be a positive out of it, but I can't see anything myself. Like,
some of the positives have been said that it could be a way of fixing several disabilities.
I'm all for technology finding the answers to things that can help that, because I've witnessed it. I know people who have been through it, and it is devastating. If you look at the way the media is being manipulated now, right, and the censorship, what's to say that's not going to be the same?
Yeah.
You've got, what's to say it's not going to be used? What if you plug that into your head and you don't feel pain, right? So they give it to soldiers and they don't feel pain. Or, there's so many dark connotations that come with a technology like that in the societal mind we have right now. It sounds neg to me. I gotta be honest. As it stands, like a Fitbit, fixing someone who has a mental disorder or a brain injury or brain damage, or fixing someone who's paralyzed, because that type of technology can be used for something like that. Yeah, I could see the benefits in it. But plugging yourself into a game, nah.
People wince at going to the doctors and having their blood taken, right? People get up in arms about having a tattoo. Who's going to think, I know it's going to be a good idea, I'm just going to get a bit of my skull removed and it's going to be replaced with a microchip. Okay.
You will be surprised. I bet you'd have a few gamers who would have that stuck in the back of their head, right? You get the odd person like who thinks he's Neo from the Matrix, and he'd be straight up bed having a big plug put in the back of his nut, without even giving the consequences of such a thing
A second
a
thought,
thought.
like, yeah.
Yeah, just you know it's gonna happen. You know there's gonna be that type of person out there. But it's, are they going to use them? Like we've all seen technology grow as education's grown. Is it going to be something they're going to have in school? Like, what are they going to say? Do you want to plug yourself into the school database? Like, there are too many rich people sitting around just thinking stuff up, and they've got the money to make it reality. And you've got Soros, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. And you've got Bill Gates now. He wants to vaccinate the planet, right? Which, I'm sorry, he must be making vast, and I mean vast amount of money over this vaccine malarkey, right? Now, between them three, they could pretty much solve world hunger and world poverty. And if they're so hell-bent on fixing the planet, give your money up. If it's such a cause to you, if it's such a belief, and it's what you're willing to just take all this flack for, give your money away. Fix it. You're standing there making frigging vaccines and plugging us into stuff and causing riots and just, and stuff. This is the problem. See, everybody goes, oh, and then they don't really look at the bigger picture.
Well, that's the thing.
And I think it's dangerous. I think these people who have this money can Elon Musk has chucked these satellites up without giving it any consideration to if the people of planet Earth want them satellites in the air.
Yeah.
Just done it. It's changed our night sky. It'll change the sky view for generations. And nobody asked the people whose world it is as well if they wanted this thing.
This is what I say to people, right? If it was just one of these things on its own accord, right, then I could forgive it. I could be, a lot more open to it. But it's the fact it all seems to be coming at once. It all seems to be coming literally now since March of this year is when things really started amping up and things really started going south. You look at the damage that is done by people literally not letting go of their phones. It's like just something simple, right? Something simple like, back a couple of years ago, if I wanted money, I'd go to the post office or I'd go to the cash point. So I'd be having exercise. If I wanted to go shopping, if I wanted a new game, I would go to the shops. So it would become a social or exercise-based experience. Now, I can literally just use this, my phone. Yeah. It fits in the palm of my hand, and I could use it for basically anything that I want. But it's also, it also limits the amount of places that I can use, because unless you've got small businesses that are tech savvy, which it's not easy to become tech savvy. It's getting easier and easier, of course, but I can see the sort of positives and I can see the negatives of it. I can see, obviously, if it is going to help people, but then on what sort of line do you draw on that? It's like, for example, will it get to a point if they can cure neurological diseases and that sort of thing? Like my eyesight is a neurological disease. So, and I am going to be talking about that in a video that's coming out later this week, by the way. But, I've got things wrong with me. So, but if you change that, because I've known no different, you're not going to give any thought to how that is actually going to affect the person. And we're not giving any thought into how social media is affecting people now. We've got people that were born in the sort of millennial generation and they've grown up with this sort of stuff and they are literally exhibiting, psychological addictions to these things. They are, it's causing a whole manner of psychological problems. And this is like what I say to people. It's like, look, I don't, you take 5G. I don't understand the issues that people have with 5G, right? I can understand the sort of point of view, right? But once you start talking technical to me, you lose me, right, with regards to it. But when you look at the psychological and when you look at the effect it has on people, that's where my sort of comfort zone is then, in a sense. And I'm like, well, as I said, literally 8 years ago, you didn't have this. You didn't have this. This was a PDA that, did a couple of things that was about as user-friendly as trying to thread a needle through a brick. We do need to slow down a little bit in the way that we are sort of consuming our technology, because we need to stop and think of the ramifications of what we are doing, because it's becoming a master of us. And even people on the good side of it getting information through social media, but this is where you're having a rift, because the information is coming through in such a way that it's all of a jumble, that you don't know what's fact and you don't know what to believe, and and people are taking stances on this which is creating division. Everything that's happening, we're not thinking about where this leaves us, what this makes us, what is it what are we doing to ourselves by going through this. So I found it quite interesting. The fact that we can do it is crazy, but it's also, to me, the same as you, it's something that I'm quite horrified by, because I just really don't think that we should be messing around with the brain until we understand consciousness a lot more.
Well, we understand the nature of us a lot more.
Yeah.
Before we start plugging ourselves into things, we need to find out what we're about. And it doesn't seem at the minute that the world really knows. We don't get a chance. You're plunged when your conscious mind becomes sort of self-aware. You're thrust into school.
Yeah.
And you're told this, you're told that, you're told to think like this, you're told this is the truth, this is that. Like, I was in school about Jesus and the Bible, and he did this and did that, and you're not given an alternative, and it can cloud your judgment.
Of course it can.
And you don't get a chance to really understand what it is to exist, to be human, and to live in a world that is shared, and the importance of we should really be all firing on the same sheet. It is, and yeah, but just technology and everything else is pushing us too far. It's pushing us too fast.
Well, the interesting thing with the lockdowns now and the way that things are manifesting because of the COVID-19 pandemic is a lot of people have now actually had chance to step off the treadmill, and a lot of people are actually looking at this in a different way, and that is manifesting in a whole number of things as well. So it's weird. This is the first opportunity in my memory that almost the entire world has had a chance to stop and think. And that was what, when we took our break in 2018 from doing this, that was the biggest thing. It was like, for me, it was reflecting on my life. I hadn't stopped. I hadn't given myself, the opportunity to really reflect on my life's journey, what's got me to the point it got me to, and why that had happened to me, and what that meant for me, and how I could use that knowledge to shape what I wanted for my life and for those close to me, moving forward, and actually have those discussions. And I suppose that's one of the advantages that going through these kind of spiritual awakenings and that sort of thing does give you, is I suppose, have had that opportunity more than most that have been on the treadmill for the last 20 or 30 or 40 years. And that's what I've been saying to people, is the reason why you're coming to this realization now is a lot of people actually come to that realization at retirement, because they're constantly chasing that thing, that happiness of, once I achieve this, I will be happy. Once I achieve that, I will be happy. But actually, when they realize that when it all comes grinding to a halt, they realise that none of those things actually made them happy, and the one thing that did make them happy was the chance to be around friends, family, a chance to express themselves, a chance to be creative, a chance to sort of understand who they are and the world around them. That is kind of what changed their state of mind, and a lot of people were finding, throughout the 20th century, that was only coming at a point where they were too old to do anything about it.
Well, there's some, if you look at Steve Jobs and some of the things he said before his passing, that he had so many regrets, and the money he made didn't fulfill them gaps, and it can't. Unfortunately, you will have the class of people where material and power is all. It's what they yearn for, and they have it. So they've reached, in their mind, their goal. But the problem is, with reaching such a goal, there's a cost, and the cost maybe not to them, but it's probably to someone under them. So it's there's so much that we have to go through and look at and reform and change. And plugging yourself into things is not the answer. It's not an escape to plug yourself into a virtual world and leave the rest of the world to itself. It's never going to fix anything. So it does, it needs addressing. It does.
Hi guys, it's Jared from Paranormal Now. I hope you like the channel and hope you like the content. If you do, check out some of the other videos on the screen now and click the button below to subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you soon. Take care of yourselves.